So first off, thank you everybody that's here today. I thank you everyone for joining us with this webinar. I'm officially going to get this webinar started. No more messing around with technical nonsense. So my name is Carlos Hermina. I'm the Vice President of the Florida Cannabis Coalition. I'm going to bring Mike Minardi back on here in just a moment. But first off, I want to talk to you guys about everything that's going on with the Florida Cannabis Coalition. If you guys haven't heard by now, you guys should have heard by now, but if you haven't heard by now, the Florida Cannabis Coalition is Florida's oldest and largest cannabis business organization that's been doing this for a very long time, doing this since 2014. We've been about 700 members strong since about that time. Our membership base is based off of entrepreneurs working to get into the cannabis industry. As you can see here, we have a number of different membership options, and I'm going to go over the benefits of these options right now, but there's no better way to talk about why these options are so great than to go ahead and talk about our events coming up. Now, this is the event section of our website. As you can see here, we've got Regulate Update 8 going on right now, but next weekend, we've got a commercial grow room design class going on in Ybor City, Florida on May 27th. It's an all-day affair. It's taught by a gentleman by the name of Aaron Landerville. Aaron is probably one of the smartest men that I've ever seen grow cannabis. A lot of times when you get a cannabis grower, they like to tell you all this, anecdotal data of why their cannabis is the best. Aaron teaches physics for the University of South Florida. Aaron understands science, and he presents this class in a very scientific way, and you can't go wrong with science, people. So, of course, coming up on June 3rd, we have Canada Tampa, which is going to be a great event. All our Canada events are absolutely amazing events. Just to play a little video highlight from our last Canada, here we go. Look at all those people getting ready to learn and network with one another to become the great cannabis business that the Florida cannabis industry is going to be. Basically, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to want to come to one of these events. These events are going to help you network. They're going to help you get educated. They're going to help you find companies that are already doing big things in the cannabis industry. You're going to learn from doctors. You're going to learn from advocates. You're going to learn from experts. You're going to meet our members. You're going to meet entrepreneurs. And of course me, look, it's me. You're going to get education. We get the opportunity to give them the right information. You're going to get guidance. We get the opportunity to help build this cannabis industry in the state. And you're going to find the relationships you need to become the cannabis business of your dreams, guys. So this is a great event to go to. We've got guys like these coming through all the time to these events. So we had Mass Roots at our last event. We had Brett Allen from the Green Organic Dutchman. Expert speakers. Panels. So it's actually kind of funny. I got off the phone with the people from Minorities for Medical Marijuana earlier today. And we were talking about what it's going to be like, what we're going to set up. So we're going to have a number of panels at this event. We're going to have a members panel. So you're going to hear from members and all the great stuff that they're getting out of the Florida Cannabis Coalition. You're going to hear from Minorities for Medical Marijuana, who's putting on a legal panel. You're going to hear from a veterans panel. We're going to focus on veterans at this event. And we're going to have people like Robert Roundtree from Buds for Vets. We're going to have Bob Jordan. We're going to have, I believe he's in this webinar. Let me see if he's actually in here. Actually, I don't want to show everybody's name, but we're going to have Weed for Warriors Project at this event as well. And a number of great things going on at that event. It's going to be an awesome time. You can get your ticket at floridacannabiscoalition.com, or if you want Canada 420, that's a good way to remember the URL. So right after Canada, we're going to have a green carpet event. in Tampa, in downtown, in Franklin Manor. These events are always great. Our last event was in Sarasota. We packed the house down there at the Wild Ginger Apothecary. We're going to pack the house again in the Franklin Manor in downtown Tampa. We're also going to have a grow and design workshop on June 7th. And then we're going to be at the Southeast Cannabis Conference and Expo. But what I'm really, really excited about is this Pro Athletes Pro Cannabis event, which is going to have Ricky Williams there, Boo Williams, and a number of great athletes that are going to talk about cannabis and how cannabis can really help these sports stars to protect their brains, protect their minds, because they can go through a lot of trouble through their athletic career. Then we're going to be in St. Petersburg for another green carpet event on June 11th, dispensary management workshop, and there you go. Now, join the Florida Cannabis Coalition. As you can see here, we have a number of different options. The way our options go is you can either go from prime to business. This basically works from left to right as what level you are. Are you at the level where you have a business and you want to start marketing to the Florida cannabis market, to the Florida cannabis community? Or do you just want to get your feet wet? Do you want to just get your feet wet and start, getting some education? So join us for a Prime membership if that's the case. If not, join us for a business membership if you have a business that you're ready to start advertising to the cannabis community here in Florida. And you know what? If you want to just take advantage of everything that the Florida Cannabis Coalition has to offer, then I would suggest joining as a gold member. Probably the best thing about these memberships that we've done lately is that we've opened up monthly memberships. So instead of paying $9.97 a year, you can only pay $97 a month. Try it out. See if you like it. If you don't like it, fine. Get rid of it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Just take advantage, network. We really want to help you get into this industry, so we don't want to put you down for a yearly commitment. You can choose to do a monthly commitment as well. How much is the business membership a month? Well, it's funny how that works out. It's $420 a month. So let's go ahead and get the Regulate update going. Hopefully Mike is back at his computer. I'm going to go ahead and re-prompt him. So Mike is going to join us shortly. In the meantime, I guess I can just go ahead and say hi to everyone. Eliza, do you not see me? I hope Eliza sees me. Can everybody see me, by the way? Everybody's saying hi, but I'm not sure if we're saying hi to. Okay. Al, thank you for joining us. I'm sure Mike is going to be on camera pretty soon. I see you, Carlos. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Terry. Do we have any polls going? Any questions and answers? What is a virtuous economic cycle? That's a very good question, Clifton. I'm going to leave that for Mike Minardi to answer because that seems like a technical question. Mike, come on. I'm going to just go ahead and give him a call. You guys saw him earlier. I'm sure he's just in the other room for a second. Well, guys, how's everybody doing today? Hi, Jamie. How you doing? I miss you, Jamie. Do you guys have any questions for me? Is that Tom Quigley I see? Howdy, Ryan. What's going on? Everybody, Ryan's a gold member of the coalition. Ryan's one of our premier members, actually. He's at all of our events, and he's always oh, Rosemary. Hey, what's up, Rosemary? No, I did not go to DC last week, but Mike did, and I'm sure he's got a lot of great things to tell you about. I was here for a medical marijuana conference in Wesley Chapel. Plus, we had a green carpet event. There is a veterans rally before the doors open to the Southeast Cannabis Conference in Expo. Doors open at 10. Rally starts at 9. Flavor RX is passing out free CBD water to the veterans, and all veterans get in free since you have time to talk about it. Okay, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Yes, everybody, go ahead and join us for the veterans rally. Okay, Mike's coming. Mike's coming. He sees that we're ready. So yeah, cannabis, guys. It's good stuff. Should be legalized. Anybody else have anything that they want to plug? Oh, Mike's accepting.
Hello, everyone. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, there you are. What's going on, brother?
Can you all hear me? Because I can't hear anything still. Just give me a thumbs up, Carlos, if it's here. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Welcome to another Regulate Florida webinar to kind of talk about what's going on here in the state, what Regulate Florida is up to, and how you can get involved. I don't know if you're talking about me and my shirt. I do have a education before recreation shirt, which was from the Marley Festival with the THC molecule on it a couple weeks ago. And just, it was an awesome event, and I'm really excited for it this year. They're going to do another education before recreation event this year. And we, again, are going to be a part of that, I can assure you that, so that we can educate people on the state of Florida as to why we need regulated adult use. So, questions as to what's going on here in the state of Florida. We are still in a state of limbo, waiting for Department of Health to do something. They are, in some parts, waiting for the legislature to see whether or not they're going to come back with a special session and whether or not we're going to have some sort of medical marijuanas here in the state of Florida passed by either our legislature or our Department of Health. Either one of those regulations, I think, will have some unconstitutional aspects of it, and we are still working towards getting ready to file a lawsuit in order to support those issues and to prevent them from stopping patients from having, smoked flower and things of that nature. So we still have a couple months before those lawsuits will be filed. I expect after July 4th, anything that they come out with, it's fair game. We can start filing lawsuits based on the unconstitutional nature of the rules and regulations that they are, instituting. Not only is this shirt great, it's also, 55% hemp and 45% organic cotton. So it's not only good for you and educational, but it's also good for the environment. So what's going on with Regulate Florida? I'd like to say that we have some awesome stuff going on. I think I'm going to be first to announce tonight, and I suggest everyone to save the date for July 9th. It's going to be a sabbatical life party presenting a few different bands over in Tampa, which we're going to be a big part of, and going to have sort of an educational symposium and part of that as well during the sets, and really continuing to bring the awareness to this issue in the state of Florida and continuing to push it and get people involved and get people rallying around this cause. Over the next couple weeks, I'm proud to say that we have awesome events going on. Number one, June 3rd, we do have the Florida Cannabis Coalition Canada Day in Tampa, which should be an awesome day and a wonderful event, and I'm looking forward to that. And then June 9th, 10th, and 11th, we have the Southeast Cannabis Conference down in Fort Lauderdale, which again, these people are supporting Regulate Florida. They're supporting changes in the law, and they're supporting the education of the people in the state of Florida so that they understand why we need this. And it's not bad policy, but it's sensible policy to be able to create adult use regulations here in the state of Florida and to bring taxpayer dollars and jobs into the state of Florida. Over the last week, I was in DC, which was absolutely wonderful. It was 2 days of lobbying and 3 days at the MMJ Business Conference, which was an absolute wonderful event. I was out there for a few reasons. Number one, in an attempt to continue to bring funding for Regulate Florida. Number two, for clients. And number three, I am heading to Oklahoma next week, and I'm actually heading to Colorado tomorrow to do a fundraiser for a veteran that we have out in Oklahoma who faces 2 to life. And we're going to do a fundraiser with him to be able to bring in veterans and be able to bring in people from around the country to stand up and support this man and stand with him in court while he fights for his life to be able to use cannabis as a medication and not face 2 to life for 6 plants. This is a travesty. He is a wonderful individual who did multiple tours fighting for our country, and it's something that is really taking up the majority of my time right now in regards to having to fight for and this man's life, literally. He faces multiple years in prison. He faces a very long suspended sentence, and nobody deserves that for a plant. And the veterans, I think, especially who have fought for this country, really deserve the right to be able to use cannabis no matter where they are. It shouldn't matter what zip code you're in. It shouldn't matter what area of the country you're in. This is a medicine. This is a life-saving plant. And he was in the Marine Corps for an extended period of time and was actually stationed in Oklahoma when he got busted. So it wasn't like he could move to a legal state at the time. He was still in service at the time. And this is a man who again fought for our country, put his life on the line for the laws that we have, and we owe it to him to stand up, to support him, and to fight for our rights. He fought for our ability to have freedom of speech. He fought for our ability to possess weapons and to have a Fourth Amendment right to be free from illegal searches and seizures. And we should support him in his endeavor and his right to use cannabis as a medication when he's went through multiple pharmaceutical medications and opiates and things like that just made him want to, realistically kill himself. So I do encourage everyone to support that. That is why I'm going to Colorado tomorrow, in order to have a fundraiser to get people to support that event, not for my legal fees, but for, costs to get us in there, to have us a place to stay, and to bring in doctors and to bring in veterans. So you can support a veteran, support the medical costs that go to his case, and help us hopefully, not only change Florida, but change the world in this country, because, something like Oklahoma, and my position is the only way they keep this defense out is because they're afraid that people understand this is a real medication. This is something that people should be able to use. So, that's what's going on with me. With regards to Regulate Florida, again, we're going to be a part of all these events, but I am happy to say that we are working with a company, Pro Petitioners, and I'm going to get all the information right now so that I can promote this. Sorry, guys, getting the information correct to you. And I've been running around trying to set up events and working on setting up that July 9th event and talking to people about getting behind Regulate Florida. But we will have an opportunity for people to, potentially jumping on with another petition group and the gambling petition, to also be circulating Regulate Florida petitions and to eventually be able to get revenue from that. He has an ad up, and I'm going to send it to him. He's Tom Lucky on Facebook. He's I believe it's Pro Petitioners Group, and they're willing to work with us at this point in time so that we can be able to, get the numbers that we need. We love the volunteers, and volunteers are appreciated because at this point, we are not funded. I am a volunteer myself. Everything that I do for Regulate Florida, is because I believe in this plant. I believe in the people. I believe in the patients of the state of Florida and our right to grow as citizens under our Constitution and as human beings. I believe in putting morals over money and patients over profits, and realistically profits over prisons as to what we're doing with the criminal system here. And that's why Regulate Florida has launched and is working our tail off in order to educate people about the benefits of regulated adult use, about to understand that the ills that the DFA and people like that say are inconsistent with what we believe is the truth in the matter as to what's going on. There was just an article this week about how the information regarding drunk driving in the state of Colorado was being overly exaggerated, and from cannabis. And we're going to continue to push education and statistics and information out to people so that people can embrace this plant, understand that it's much safer than alcohol or tobacco, and people should rightfully have the choice to decide what they want to use. I'm not disparaging either one of those. People can drink and smoke cigarettes all the time. People should be able to drink and smoke a joint if they choose to do so. And that's what we're fighting for, not only here in the state of Florida, but while I was up in D.C. fighting on the federal level to try to get them to loosen banking laws and loosen 280E tax burdens for businesses, and pushing for veterans' rights for veterans in medical states to be able to get medical cannabis or be recommended medical cannabis by their VA doctor. These are all things that we believe in and that we support and that we hope that you support. There is still a week left of the match program that I believe I launched last time I was on this webinar. I don't think that we're quite at the $1,500 that I can match at this point in time. So please make your donations at Regulate Florida, and permit us to be able to have adult use and home cultivation and protection of your Florida gun rights and protection of your employee rights, and really your right to cultivate, and the requirement that our government issues licenses and not have the issues that we have going on right now with regards to Amendment 2. Does Regulate Florida bill stop dispensaries from other states? We do have a short residency requirement and a statewide requirement. They can be investors. Citizenship requirement can be investors, but we encourage a free market and a full market and people coming in from other states and being part of this, as well as a Florida license holder being a part of it as well. So we're doing everything that we can in order to be able to, push this forward and require and open a free market, but also give some benefits to people here in the state of Florida that have been working so hard in order to build Florida into the great state that it is today, that have existing businesses that are, have been paying and putting money into the economy here in the state of Florida. So, but they're partnering up, and people are partnering up with people in other states. And there's really, very few industries that I know of here in the country where an investor or someone coming from out of state can't open a business in, and marijuana is kind of something very limited to that. The regulations are like no other in no other industry. So question as far as what is the likelihood of dispensaries expansion? I do not know. I can tell you, I know there's issues as to whether or not there's going to be a special session. And then the Department of Health has control over it. And then there's lawsuits and things of that nature. So May 30th, I do encourage people to get involved on local level and speak out. Make sure that they know, that you guys want free access, that you guys want to be able to have stores within your boundaries, that you want to be able to have reasonable access and not have to, travel great distances or pay delivery prices. in order to get your medication. What kind of proportion is there between strict and progressive legislatures working on Amendment 2? I mean, I think you have to look at the House and Senate and look at the votes. So the House is, and you say strict and progressive, let's talk about bought and paid for versus strict and progressive. So that's my opinion on the issue as far as the nurseries and money and political influence. And, you know, the article last week came out creating the link between John Morgan, the lobbyist, and Forrest Terra, and him being the brother of the Speaker of the House, Cochran. Three Boys Farm, you know, did get the license today. I think they were one of the few applicants that was actually a facility or group growing, you know, actually food products when applying for a license. I know that there were others, but I know that they kept into it, and congratulations to them. I believe that's Greg Gerdeman is a part of their group, and he is a wonderful gentleman and someone who's very educational and knowledgeable about this industry and the medical aspects of it, and a great teacher to many over at is it Eckerd College that he's at. So we need 1 million signatures in order to get Amendment 2 on the ballot. In order to get Regulate Florida on the ballot. We just started submitting a week ago, about approximately to the Department of State. I think we're probably around a couple thousand at this point. I know I have a couple boxes that need to be sorted and then sent to sorted, verified, and then sent to the appropriate elections office. So we are always looking for volunteers who want to assist with that. You know, we can get them to you, and you can sort them by the county and then verify them on the Division of Elections to determine whether or not the person is a correct voter or not, or sort them and send them in to us. And then we can work on the verification process. And then we submit them to the supervisor of elections in those counties. But, you know, realistically at this point, it comes down to volunteers and manpowers as to, you know, who and getting it done, honestly. And Karima chimed in, yes, you know, you send them to the address on the back of the petition, and they will get to that young lady. If you're at events over here in Tampa or coming to Canada or any of the green carpet events, please bring in your petitions. I'll give you a stack more. I will take them. I think we're sort of working on people on the East Coast. We'll be sorting and putting them in on the East Coast, and then on the West Coast, we have petitions over there. Like I said, we're in the process of still sorting them. All the ones that we have sorted and submitted to the larger counties in Broward and Miami-Dade are in and registered. We probably have, I know we went through and our first shipment of 20,000 petitions is out throughout the state. Right now, I know there's boxes waiting for me in various different locations. With hundreds of petitions in them. And I also have a box here that, again, needs to be sorted. I don't count them when I sort them. You know, we just sort them into county and submit them and validate them. So once we do, and we will start having a tracker on our website so that we can provide those, you know, so people know where we're at and what's going on. But what we need is everybody on this webinar to print out 5 and have them sign them if you haven't, and have 5 other people sign them, and we'll put our way. You know, and that's the only way that we can get this done, and that's the bottom line. You know, I put about 4,000 to 5,000 miles per month on my vehicle running around the state for this, and really trying to push this issue because I believe in it. You know, too many people's lives have been ruined as a result of a plant, and we have to, you know, really just stop. It's bad policy. It's illogical. And just like all the people on here that I'm sure are wonderful, good people, you know, those are the type of people that are in our jail cells and, you know, facing probation and loss of jobs as a result of, you know, using cannabis, using a plant. So Thank you to all those that have donated. Those who haven't, please continue to do so. This is going to be a long effort and a long fight, and I promise you I'm working daily on continuing to get funding in and educating people on what's going on and getting people on board and behind us. And I'm working very hard at that. And, it's something that we believe in here at Regulate Florida. So we're bringing new pieces on every day. I just spoke to and now have sort of an event coordinator here over in the Tampa area for Regulate Florida, and hopefully he'll be, working around the state and helping us out in order to, continue to push Regulate Florida at all these different events and concerts and help get, the word out there and our petitions out there, because people believe in this. We all know that this is sensible policy. We all know that this is the right thing to do. We do. And to have 1 million, you can go online or email me or go to regulateflorida.com. There's volunteer links that you can email our volunteer coordinators and help links for legal and media and things of that nature. And, that's how you can get involved, and that's how you can volunteer and help us out. We have Facebook groups, so we're regularly, if we have events in areas, or if in any area that there's an event can be where we can get petitioners to go, let us know so that we can put our petitioners in place, and you can, help us organize or look on those Facebook groups in those areas and let people know that those petitions are, for regulated adult use. We've had a great, I think, success so far in where we've been in getting petitions signed. And it's, it's just going to be a continued effort. My perspective is the only way we can get a real medical marijuana and regulated adult use program here in the state of Florida is through a ballot initiative, through the constitutional amendment. Our legislature clearly has basically, said that they don't give a shit about what we say, and 71% of the vote. And, so what we have to do is overgrow the government and overgrow the monopoly, so that we're able to cultivate our own, and we don't have to pay these absurd prices. We don't have to, give in to the limited products and strains that they have and that they're going to be pushing out. It's their choice, not our choice, what we get at this point in time. And I don't think that that's fair. That's not what I supported and fought for in this medical marijuana initiative for the last, I've been fighting since Kim Russell originally came out on it. I've been getting petitions signed at events and things of that nature, and doing events for it all the time. So we're going to continue to push for this and get patients to what they want. As far as rules and regulations, guys, at this point, there's no rules and regulations. What we have right now is the Department of Health's rules for the low THC bill and the Right to Try Act. From my perspective at this point, if you're getting it should be illegal for people to be getting recommended under Amendment 2 right now. It should be illegal for people in these nurseries to be dispensing under Amendment 2 right now. From my perspective, in regards to how the amendment is written, this is something that, myself and other attorneys throughout the state decided not to challenge in an effort to be able to not prevent patients from having access under Amendment 2, because the patients are the most important ultimately, even though from my perspective, the program, the way it got rolled out was an effort to make sure that the nurseries started gaining money from the benefits of Amendment 2 because they had been losing so much. I do encourage at this point in time, if you don't have to get your medicine from them, don't boycott these nurseries. Do not let them, really, profit off a plant, profit off something that is inhumane, that they're withholding it from us, profiting them off, trying to continue and keep a limited supply of medication available so they can continue to keep the prices high. And it's something that I feel bad to say, but unfortunately, it's right. It's right. This plant originally became illegal because of greed. That's the only reason why we're friggin' here today. Are we going to continue to give into that greed and let them control this plant and continue to do so? I say hell no. We are too close. We are on the brink of pushing this over the top. We are on the brink of taking over. All we have to do is get up and do it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And if I can inspire one person Lorraine to volunteer and to help out, or anybody else out here to get 5 petitions downloaded and signed by your friends and sent them in, then I've done part of my job. It's not enough, and I don't ever think it'll be enough until it's legal, until we have rights, until I don't have to represent a patient or a veteran or a person because they're deciding to use a plant. And even in Florida, after we passed 71% deciding to smoke a plant, which may be criminal, we actually need 1 million. There's 766,000 is actually the amount needed. There's about a 25 to 30% error rate. But so that's the importance of actually having a good petition and understanding, how to do the petition. So some of the big mistakes on the petition are, it says county. Some people think it says country, and they put that in there. Little things like that. It's a 4-page petition. They forget to turn it over and sign the back. They don't put their zip code in, or it's date of birth or voter registration. So as I say to most people, and they say, I don't have my voter registration, I say, I bet you know your date of birth. And pretty much everyone I've come in contact with does. So those are ways that you can make sure that every petition you get counts. And I know sometimes it's difficult in regards to when you have a bunch of people around as to checking them and looking at them. I definitely get yelled at last time because I pay half attention to doing the petitions and trying to talk to people and get people involved. And, so it is difficult, but it does go a long way. And unfortunately, as far as if they do put the wrong information or it's illegible, that petition doesn't count. So that's a big thing as far as getting those together. But, we need 766,000. The information is on the website because of the higher voter turnout in the presidential election last year. So we have more than United for Care needed, like 680 or something. We bumped it up a little bit by 50 to 100,000 as far as how many validated signatures. That means, and that's why we need the 1.2 million approximately, because it's 300,000 to 500,000, 30% error rate with regards to those petitions. But you guys control the error rates if we do it correctly. Would I suggest to boycott the current license holders by not working for them? That's up to you. It's in the industry, from my perspective. No, work for them, make some money off of them, and hopefully the patients won't come to support them. So you make money and you get education in the industry, but I don't, again, promote supporting these industries at all right now. Again, 1937, this plant originally became illegal as a result of greed from the pulp industry and William Randolph Hearst, from the textile industry and DuPont, and from the oil industry and banking industry from Andrew Mellon. And they villainized this plant, and that's continued through misconceptions, through lies, and through control by our government, through other legal industries, because also in 1937 and soon thereafter was also the first time we saw really pharmaceutical companies start to develop as they are today. And as many of you, I am sure, know, they are now one of the biggest supporters against medical cannabis. They actually contributed, I want to say, 800,000 plus into the campaign against legalization in Arizona. So, and we know they're one of the biggest funders against it. They're the biggest funders of Drug-Free America. These people are continuing the greed, and the oil companies as well, and the textile companies, and now you have alcohol and the private prison industries. They're the other big industries that are holding down cannabis and preventing us to have this. I can grow my own tomatoes. I can grow my own food. I should be able to grow my own medicine in my backyard. As long as I keep it secure and locked and away from children, there should be no way that the government should be able to prevent us from growing marijuana in our backyard, in our closets, away from our children, safe, not selling it, not distributing it, and being able to use this as a medicine and as an adult use. I can, brew X amount of alcohol in my garage if I choose to do so. These information is ridiculous. And, all of you are on here taking the step to be able to get into this industry. number one, to be able to hopefully change these laws from my perspective. If people want to get into a reasonable industry here in the state of Florida, it's either one, going to be through lawsuits after the rules and regulations of Amendment 2 are passed, or number two, through passing Regulate Florida. We do have 4 pages, and it's for a reason. We do not trust our legislature to be able to write reasonable rules and regulations for implementation. We do not trust them to be able to open up access for patients and open up access for places to be able to open. And we expect them to try to boycott and prevent these facilities from in their area. And that's why we allow, under Regulate Florida, we require, I should say, that local municipalities and counties have to put it to the vote of the people in a general election if they want to be able to boycott or have moratoriums or prevent facilities in their counties and districts. So we try to really protect patients. We took part of Colorado's model, and Bill Wolshofer is really a huge, part of drafting this legislation. And we changed it in ways that we think that problems are occurring around the country, that if we're going to say regulate marijuana like alcohol, let's mean regulate marijuana like alcohol much more than some of these other initiatives have done in the past. And I don't knock them. They're paving the way, but we have to keep on moving for progress. And that's what Regulate Florida does. And that's what our petition does. I believe in this. I believe in us to be able to do this. And I believe in our volunteers and the people around this state to get active. Because if you want to make change, you have to go out there and take it. It's not going to come to you. And that's the bottom line. And if you don't know that yet about life, if you want to accomplish anything, we have to go out there and take it. We have to fight for it, tooth and nail, to reach our way to the top of that mountain, to get those petitions signed, and to educate people that we all, are sitting on our couch for many years. And believe me, I'm a huge person that did that. I could have got involved in this industry in the 90s when I was in college much more than I did, later on. But I'm here now, and I'm hoping to get more people involved and people to understand it's time to step up to make a difference, because we can. We showed by passing Amendment 2 by 71% that we can make a difference. The power of the people does work. And I'm hoping that everyone's going to show in this next election, one, through education of our candidates and supporting those candidates who support marijuana, and number two, by voting on and getting Regulate Florida on the petition in 2018. So they know they can't hide from this. They can't continue to screw this. No matter what, I want to be able to, January 4th, January 5th of 2019, I want to be able to stick plants, seeds, in my goddamn germination kit and start cultivating, and have the constitutional right to cultivate this plant. And everyone should have that same goal. And the only way to get there is by supporting Regulate Florida. So any other questions as to what's going on? No questions. Would you six? Nope, no questions. Okay, if nobody has any questions, am I behind here? I don't know. I guess Carlos, anything to say? I hope I see everyone up at the coming events. The question and answer period. There is absolutely no such thing as a compassionate caregiver. Someone asked me this question the other day. If you become one, you're allowed to go 3 plants. That is absolutely incorrect. In fact, the only legislation in both the House and Senate that I saw, only thing it did for patients and caregivers regarding to cultivation, changed it from a felony and a misdemeanor. How can we stop companies based out of state to come here and dominate the market? By having an open market. and by having everybody have the chance to be able to be in it. That's the bottom line from my perspective. So there's open competition. I think that's the only way, and we do have a slight owner license operator requirement for residency, but training or for certifications that would be helpful for getting into the industry. None of them are accredited. I know there are some places that are trying to do so. I think it's very difficult to be able to do that. I'd like to say that, Carlos has an excellent webinar series, and through Florida Cannabis Coalition, you can probably get just as good of information and education as you can anywhere in regards to getting involved in this industry. So, that would be my suggestion realistically, and going to events and things like that, and just educate yourself. I don't know necessarily if a certification means anything as opposed to just educating yourself to be involved in it. And Candace is on board, and she's part of Bang Cruise, and I'm happy to say I'm about to sign on, as if she calls me at some point in time, maybe, for the October 21st to 28th cruise through the Caribbean and awesome places, including Jamaica, and, having a speaking symposium and a fun symposium, and having, just enjoyment on a cruise for a week and relax late October, right before Halloween, with like-minded people and kind folk on a wonderful cruise. How do you suggest people who are going to set up clinics to proceed at this point? As far as I'm concerned, doctors have some of the greatest protections that I have. And so there's going to be a huge difference here from my perspective as to what's going to happen. Number one, we're going to have the rules and regulations that is in place by either the legislature or the Department of Health, which are going to be challenged in some respects, no matter what, from my perspective, regarding them being unconstitutional. Number two, we have an issue of patients' rights and the rights that we're going to have to challenge after the rules and regulations are in place and after that 9-month mark. So from my perspective, 6-month mark, we can challenge rules and regulations with regards to businesses licensing and things like that. We may have some more leeway. Probably after 9 months is when we'll be charging with patients' rights. And I think the businesses can argue that they should be allowed to cultivate and be able to sell flower cannabis as well, and the application process. We'll see how that goes. Now, in regards to after the 9 months, patients, and I have plenty already, and we're good. We are going to be suing for the right to cultivate, potentially, the right to be able to smoke cannabis, because of the definitions and how marijuana and the rights of patients and doctors are defined in the amendment. So technically, on a state level, the amendment says no doctor shall be subject to civil, criminal liability or sanctions as a result of practicing with reasonable care in accordance with this section. So, there's going to be some issues, and the first person that fights it in regards to whether or not the Department of Health comes down on them or something of that nature, will be the one that has to fight it. But this is going to be a broad. Remember, we have a constitutional amendment. So regardless of what the legislature does or the Department of Health does, realistically, the constitutional amendment, and I think a lot of this issues may end up being, determined by criminal courts at some point in time. The constitutional amendment, is what really controls any legislative action and any sort of Department of Health action. Can anyone get a license right now? No, absolutely not. Cannabis cruise, Bang Cruise. Absolutely. It's going to be an awesome time. Excited to speak, have some fun, mingle with some people, go to beautiful Ocho Rios. Any other questions? No one can get a license until after the policies and procedures are set forth by the legislature, the Department of Health, or lawsuits are brought. laws regarding selling CBD products, everyone does it. And I had a package released by a law enforcement agency the other day that was CBD products. So, you know.
Okay.
We're always looking for volunteers at all our events. So if you are willing to volunteer wherever you are, please, let us know, and we will help you out and to get us, assistance wherever you are. If you're over in the Tampa area, again, I have stacks of petitions that I need some assistance on sorting. If you're over in the Broward area, we do have multiple events going on in Broward and Tampa over the next, few weeks, honestly, month. From my perspective, I feel like we're at something and doing something every week. Thank you, Tom. I greatly appreciate it. And guys, we just really got to make this happen. So please print out something, print out 5, get your friends, family, coworkers to sign it, and let's get this done. Let's stop this nonsense, and let's change the laws and change this world and make this state a much better place. The amazing thing is, and when I was lobbying in DC and I saw a handful of our federal representatives from the state of Florida, and they all pretty much support and are leading the way on marijuana reform on the federal level. So at least we know that someone's listening to us and watched us vote 71%. So please get involved. When time is right, donate to your organizations and our politicians that support this issue, because we have to fight money with money, unfortunately, and that's the only way we can do it.
Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate you joining us for this webinar. I don't think
Carlos
you can hear me right now. I don't think you can hear me right now, but thank you so much for all that you're doing and all the value that you're offering our members of our webinar. So you guys know, I'm just going to turn off his microphone, by the way. So you guys know, I saw some questions about CBD companies and whatnot. So CBD companies are a great way to get into the cannabis business, and I'm happy that I saw those questions in this webinar. Just want to let you guys know, one of the specials that we're having at Canada Day Tampa is we are actually going to be we're going to be showing attendees of that event how to actually set up these CBD, completely legal in all 50 states, CBD cannabis companies. So hopefully you guys will join us for that event, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this webinar. Join the Florida Cannabis Coalition, show up at some more of our events, and get informed. And yeah, we're all done here, guys. So thank you guys very much. Hasta luego.